Jim had freed the ship, but now he was drifting toward it with no way back. The sea has a way of reminding you how small you are. As the sun climbed slowly over the horizon, the Hispaniola drifted farther from the island, and my tiny coracle drifted with it. The current pulled us both in the same direction, steady and silent, as if the ocean itself had decided our course. I gripped the sides of the little boat, trying to keep it balanced. Every small wave threatened to tip me sideways. Every shift of my weight made the coracle spin like a leaf. The island was already shrinking behind me. Too far to swim, too far to call for help. Ahead, the Hispaniola creaked and groaned as she drifted, her sails half loose, her deck in disarray. I could see movement, figures stumbling across the planks, shouting to one another. Silver's men who had remained aboard were trying to regain control, but they were not working together. Their movements were wild, uncoordinated. One man tried to climb the rigging while another shouted from below. The ship yawed slightly, caught between tide and wind. Then a sharp cry cut across the water. A fight. Even from a distance, I could tell something had gone wrong. Two men struggled near the rail. One swung wildly with a knife. The other stumbled backward, grabbing for a rope. The ship lurched. One of them fell. He hit the water hard and disappeared beneath the surface without a sound. The remaining man staggered, breathing heavily, staring down at the spot where his companion had vanished. For a moment, he looked as if he might jump after him. He did not. Instead, he turned and began shouting into the empty air, as if expecting someone to answer. But there was no one else. The realization struck me slowly. Only one mutineer remained aboard, and he was alone. The current carried me closer. The Hispaniola loomed larger with every passing minute. I tried to steer away, but the coracle had little strength against the tide. It spun and drifted, always returning to the same path. Closer, closer still. The lone sailor on deck paced like a caged animal. He did not see me yet. He seemed too focused on the chaos around him, the drifting ship, the missing companion, the endless water. At last, the hull rose beside me, dark wood, towering above my fragile craft. I caught hold of a loose rope trailing over the side. The coracle bumped gently against the ship's flank. For a moment, I hesitated. Climbing aboard would be dangerous, but drifting alone at sea was worse. I waited until the sailor moved toward the stern, then pulled myself up quietly. My hands found the rail. My boots scraped softly against the wood as I swung over and dropped onto the deck. The ship felt different without its full crew. Empty, unsteady, haunted by echoes of shouting and movement that were no longer there. I crouched behind a stack of barrels, listening. The sailor staggered across the deck again. He muttered to himself, voice slurred. A bottle dangled from one hand. His steps were uneven, his eyes unfocused, drunk. That might be my only advantage. Carefully, slowly, I moved toward the helm. If I could steer the ship, if I could guide it back toward the island, I might yet return to the others. But the wheel spun loosely. The sails hung half-tangled. The ropes needed adjusting. I had never handled a ship alone. Still, I tried. I pulled at a line, adjusted a sail, turned the wheel slightly. The Hispaniola responded, sluggish but obedient. She began to angle slowly with the wind, her drift changing course. Hope flickered. Then the sailor turned. He saw me. For a moment, he simply stared. Then he roared. He rushed forward, knife raised. I stumbled back, grabbing the nearest object, a coil of rope. My heart pounded as he charged. His steps were wild but fast. We circled each other on the rocking deck. The ship creaked beneath us, sails flapping overhead. He lunged. I dodged sideways. The knife slashed through air where I had stood a moment before. He stumbled, nearly falling, then swung again. There was no time to think, only to move. I ran toward the mast. He followed, shouting curses. The deck tilted slightly as the ship caught a stronger current. He lost his footing for a split second. It was enough. I pushed him hard. He crashed into the rail. The knife slipped from his hand. He grabbed for balance, but the ship lurched again, and he went over. A splash, a cry cut short, then nothing. I stood frozen, breathing hard. The deck was silent. The sea stretched endlessly in every direction. I was alone on a drifting ship in open water. But the Hispaniola was mine now. I moved slowly to the wheel. The sails still needed trimming. The course needed setting. The island was somewhere behind me, hidden by distance and haze. If I could turn the ship, if I could bring her back, there was still hope. Yet, as I stood there gripping the wheel, I realized something else. Silver did not know the ship was gone. Not yet. When he discovered the truth, the island would become far more dangerous for everyone left behind, and I was the only one who could return to warn them. The wind shifted. The sails filled slightly. The Hispaniola began to turn. The journey back had begun. But the sea had already shown me one thing clearly. Nothing on this island or this ship would be simple again.